Hi, I want to welcome the viewers to another edition of Bill's Bullpen. Bill's Bullpen is a program that's intended to give folks some sense of what's going on in the community and some idea of people who are involved in activities that are here. With me today, I have Ed Kovary, who is the, what would you call this, Ed?
I'm the advocate
Advocate.
for Veterans United.
Okay, now Veterans United, is that a corporation or a foundation?
It's a corporation nationwide, which is basically a lending corporation. And, excuse me, their primary interest within vets is a dedicated one where they don't want to see any vet family without a roof over their heads. So they will go out of their way to turn around and find a means by which they can either get a home or whatever else is needed for the family. And they're dedicated throughout the entire country. They try and basically set up different regions and work with the people. They work with the advocates. And basically, they heard of some of the things that I basically kind of was inspired to look into and pursue. And I did a couple of write-ups. And the write-ups wound up in the Boston area, where we have about 4,100 people, families, that have been actually helped by Veterans United, and many of them live down here on the Cape.
Well, there's 24,000 to 26,000 veterans on the Cape that that's been identified, and there are 30 different organizations that that supposedly are involved with veterans activities. How do you fit in with all of that? Oh, by the way, are you an employee of Veterans United?
I wouldn't say I'm an employee. I'm an advocate in that I kind of share what they are aspiring to do with regards to get veterans into families. And being a naval veteran myself, I basically was looking to see what was available for veterans. And what inspired me was I was in Florida having a knee replacement. And during that time, obviously, I was going through convalescence and things of that. And I learned that there were a lot of organizations down there that are devoted to veterans. And I began to say to myself, I've been coming to Cape Cod roughly since 1985. And I never really ever heard of anything for veterans. And as a result, I said to myself, something needs to be done about that because first of all, veterans have basically sacrificed their normal livelihood and went into the service to serve their country. And they came back, unfortunately, in many different situations. Some were sent into the combat zone multiple times. Others came back as amputees, unfortunately. And it got to the point where I felt something needed to be done for them. So coming back from Florida, I decided to probe into what might be available, and I started with the VA as to what they were doing. And then from there, I began to learn that there was an organization here, an organization there. I worked, in Florida, I worked with the Freedom Waters Foundation, and they are dedicated basically working with mostly amputees.
I see.
And you can become a mentor to those individuals. And there were many people in Southern Florida that would actually devote whatever resource they had. It might be a boat, it might be a large garden, have a barbecue for them. And this one particular one was one my wife and I participated in as mentors, who had a very large boat. He had a 70-foot ship, and he had welcomed 30 amputees aboard.
Oh, wow.
And went out of his way actually to hire 4 deckhands to carry the parties to a seat and then a mentor would be with them during the entire, take them out for a 3-hour cruise, feed them, come back in. Some of the situations with the different organizations down there, basically they would basically pay for the service, such as if somebody owned a private boat and was willing to take a couple of veterans out.
I don't understand that part of it. You said that this fellow volunteered his boat, but then
Correct.
somebody else paid him to do that?
No.
Oh,
What I am saying basically is in many instances,
okay.
there are situations where there are private boat owners who are willing to take vets out for the cost of the fuel and maybe bait if you're going fishing or just for a little cruise. This individual totally gave his entire boat and whatever it cost him to move a 70-foot boat for a good 4 hours is not inexpensive.
Right.
So I saw some of that down there, and I when I came back, I realized there was one big difference. A lot of the things I experienced down there actually were off-season because their prime season of summer comes in, but during the winter, you get a lot of snowbirds down there and a lot of amputees and veterans. Here, we have a situation where our summer season coincides with the time in which veterans actually can become active and do things. So we're a little different up here. So what I saw was to talk to different organizations, see what they do with their veterans, and see.
Of the organizations that you talked to, were there any that that were coming forward to, let's say, to support what you were trying to do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Matter of fact, several of them suggested that.
Which ones were they?
Well, there's several around the different towns. Each town basically has a veteran VA representative.
Yeah, that's a VSO, yeah.
Right, and I would find out
Which
from
is
them.
the Veteran Service Officer.
Right, and I would find out as to what organizations are independent within the area, and I would call them and basically meet with them and speak with them and see what they were up to.
Okay. But the question I asked you was, what specific ones, have you been dealing with?
Well, they're in different communities. One is in Osterville, another's in Dennis. I basically have a whole list. And you have to remember, I've only been active doing this now for roughly about 2 months.
I see.
And during these 2 months, we've acquired about 25 people who are basically working as a unit. And the objective is basically to bring all veterans together, both brothers and sisters. And basically what we're looking to do is to find out what their needs are, what we can do to enhance their existing life, and then how we can assist in basically bring them back to the environment and community or the activities that they were accustomed to before they volunteered their services for the country.
Okay, what have they told you? What their needs are? What have you found out so far?
Well, most of them have come back and said a lot of them are interested in actually doing helpful chores, working basically with the families where the significant other is presently deployed. And that leaves the partner and family in a very, I wouldn't say a hardship situation, but a difficult situation where they may need help. They may need work around the house. They may need pet sitting or something to help. Maybe even just to take them somewhere, get them out of the house and do something for them so that you ease the burden of that party and enable them to basically become a little more comfortable. Because in all honesty, we really don't know once we're in a combat zone. We're living from day to day.
Mm-hmm.
And
Were you in
that's,
combat?
No, I was not in combat.
Okay. Neither was I.
Okay, I wasn't in combat, never had the opportunity. But basically, going back, the importance was to make the families feel comfortable.
Okay. Well, let's say people are watching the show, and let's say that they hear this message that people want to help. If they wanted to get some of this help, is there some place that they can call?
Yes, we have a excuse me. We have an address that they could basically just go through their computer and address it. And
what is that address?
That address is VETS, VETS, of Cape Cod, the small n, and then PLYM, standing for Plymouth, at Comcast.net.
Okay, so if they went on Google and were looking for you, could they put in Veterans United and come up and get a prompt for this?
They won't get it through Veterans United. They'll get it through the email, and then they could just say that we are looking for a home or an apartment or something like that, that we wish to purchase, a condo, townhouse. And with that, I would get in contact with Veterans United, who have people that are very dedicated to working with veterans. If it was not a situation of that sort, and they were looking basically to get out of the house, they're always welcome to our meetings. We hold 2 meetings a month, the second and fourth Tuesday of every month from 6:30 to 8:30 in the evening. And basically,
where are those meetings?
The meetings are being held at the Bourne Veterans Memorial Community Center over in Bourne. And it's a beautiful place, and they have a tribute on their main wall of former veterans. And they have multiple rooms, and we have a room that can actually accommodate a lot of people.
Okay, so I guess you're not I think there's some provision that prevents a 501(c) from using that facility. So you're not a 501(c).
No, I am not.
Okay, now when you say you're an advocate, you're not. Who finances your operation?
Well, first of all, I'm an advocate as defined by Veterans United. I volunteered, but they basically have supported me in the sense of providing me with some resources, such as a computer and a direct link back into the company in case I have a need for something or something that we want to do that is above and beyond normal. When I say that, I mean it might be a little more expensive. They are willing to help contribute.
Okay. Well, organizations, from my experience when I had a real job, was that organizations are not that altruistic. They have some sort of motivation in let's say in supporting organizations. What do they hope to accomplish?
Well,
through
you have to ask yourself. I mean, what is the company? The company is a loan company. So they go out and give loans to people. And obviously, during that loan process, you go over, fill out your forms, you declare what your income or total assets are. But the attitude they take with veterans is, all right, fill out the form. We're going to see what we can do to get you into what you're trying to get to. In other words, if you want to get into a house.
How does that connect with the advocacy that you're doing? I guess I'm trying to
the advocacy I do basically is I'm working with them. They have appointed me the advocate for the area.
I see.
Okay? And what they basically see me doing was what I came up with the inspiration of when I came back from Florida. And that is to gather together as many veterans as possible, get them out of their house.
Okay.
And the reason is because there are 222 suicides a day.
Yeah, it's a sad
It's
fact.
very difficult for a veteran coming out of a war zone or even coming back from the service to basically get back to the lifestyle and even work.
Yeah, we know a lot about making somebody into a soldier in a combat, let's say in combat ready, in order to fill out a mission, but we don't know a lot about getting them back into civilian life.
Well, the most important and the foremost significant effort has to be in socialization. You have to get them out of the house.
What do you mean by socialization? What is socialization?
Socialization basically is getting them involved with other veterans.
I see.
Start talking about what you experienced, what you went through, because it's a relief. It's a form of comfort. And we found that. And then with that, we also merge the families together. We'll have barbecues, we'll have picnics, we'll have different events and different trips.
Is that what you're planning, or that's what you've done?
That is part of our planning.
I see.
Of what we're planning going to do. We presently have, I put together approximately 30 different opportunities. Cape Cod is very rich in activities that are available to you. And I have to be honest, the times I spent on the Cape, I didn't partake in some of them because I wasn't aware of them.
I see.
Until I started probing that. And starting probing that, I found, and I shared this with my people at the last time we gathered, and they got very excited about it.
For example?
Well, you have the meadows up by Truro. It's an area.
Is that the farm?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's not a farm. I don't have a horse farm. Basically, it's a cliff.
I see.
What happens is there are paved paths you take, and you slowly make your way down to the ocean level.
I see.
But when you turn around, you're looking at a 40-foot cliff that looks like the Whites of Dover.
And where is this?
This is up by the Meadows. It's right south of Provincetown and right around the Truro area.
I see. Okay.
So that's one. Another one, we have a museum out
Isn't
there.
it the National Seashore?
Yeah, it's part of the National
Okay,
Seashore
gotcha.
area.
Yeah.
So in addition to that, there's museums up there that actually will show you how the Cape was formed, the platelets and the thaw. And these are things that, are of interest. Plus, it helps people understand where they are. Addition to that, you go down to Chatham, where you have the commercial fishing boats come in and unload their fish, and you see the trays where the fish are going and being processed. You see the seals out there waiting for one to fall out of a tray. I mean,
there's a lot of feeling about the seals. The seals can be up to 800 pounds, and the dayboat fishermen have been complaining for some time because they have been attacking, the dayboat fishermen, and some commercial fishermen would like to see a season on them. Of course, it's also attracting a lot of sharks. So, but
Wow.
that's a story for another time. So okay, so that's what happens in Chatham. So what do? You bring people down there to see that?
we would basically bring them to whatever interests them. Okay? If it means going over to Martha's Vineyard, we would do that. If it means going to Woods Hole, do that.
Okay, well, stick with the stuff that you said that you had a lot of excitement. What are some of the other things you talked about when you got this response from the people in your meeting?
Well, the response I got from the people was they were very interested in doing these different activities because, unfortunately, a lot of them just stay home. As we stated here, it's hard for them to, one, integrate back into society as they saw it before they left. So what we endeavor to do is to help them adjust by going out into the environment, activity-wise, and help them understand what's happening and what's going on. And it's probably, yes, it's going to be different from when they went into service, but basically it's something that's very adaptable.
I see. Who do you work with at the VA? Yeah, they have I think they have an outreach specialist. Do you work with him?
There are outreach specialists. Predominantly, I'm familiar with the ones over in Hyannis, but every town has a VA representative.
Well, he actually the outreach specialist works for the whole Cape except for Falmouth. The VSO has a specific responsibility. He's a paid employee of the town, okay, and he has a specific responsibility. He doesn't work for the VA. He works for the community.
Right, but working for the community, like Falmouth has two people. One person is dedicated.
Who are the two people?
Well, one's a gal. Basically, her responsibilities are to work with families and any hardships they may be enduring, and try and resolve those, whether it's financial or in need of help.
I see.
And we're there to supply the necessary help they may need. Then there's a gentleman who basically is familiar with all the benefits that the VA offers the veteran. So when he comes back from the front, he basically may have questions. I have an ailment. So he would basically say, okay, fine. Here are the locations of the various VA facilities, whether it be a clinic or a hospital, depending upon what their needs are.
I see.
And the VA basically has done a good job in spreading themselves around the area, because we now have a cooperative situation with Beth Israel Jordan Hospital, where we go in for general physical checkouts.
Don't they have to get approval from, let's say, from
They get
Providence VA in order to get community care?
They have to get it from their primary care. Yes.
Yeah. So the primary care has to be the
yes,
Providence
but once
VA,
a
right?
year, you're supposed to go to your primary care, where basically that party would normally have ordered a blood test. They would have probably ordered an EKG, and they would have ordered other normal type of tests, which then would be acquired, given to the primary care to review with the veteran. And if there's anything that's questionable, then basically they could be sent to a specialist, most of which are up in around the Boston area, and they are veteran hospitals. And in some instances I know of that they've gone beyond that.
Community care, as I recall, the definition of it was to be offered if you were more than 50 miles away from, let's say, a main VA facility. Providence, of course, is 50 miles away, and Hyannis is in a position to provide that. But I don't believe they send you to Boston.
Boston has the specialists.
I see.
If you're on the Cape, okay, basically from Beth Israel in Plymouth.
Well, Jordan is a partner with Beth Israel, as I recall.
That's correct. They would send you up to Boston area. You have to remember, part of the Hyannis facility is really tied to Providence.
No, they are tied to Providence.
Yes,
That's
they're
an
part of the
outpatient
Providence
facility that is specifically, tied to Providence, and they'd also send you to. There's some things that are done in New Bedford as part of that, and some things that are done.
Right.
Done
But the thing you have to remember, though, is you're crossing state lines. So it might be in the best interest of the party involved, but depending upon what their problem may be, that there are more specialists available in the Boston area.
They wouldn't send them to Brockton, huh?
Excuse me?
They wouldn't send them to Brockton?
To Brockton?
Yeah.
Certainly, that's part of the Boston operation. Brockton, Jamaica Plain, West Roxbury,
but Brockton has
Bedford.
a VA facility.
They all have VA facilities.
No, I mean a
They have a
hospital.
hospital there.
Yeah, Brockton has a hospital.
But the thing is, all the specialists bounce around certain days.
I see.
So it's a question of appointments. Because of the number of veterans returning from the front, basically you may be, well, you used to be scheduled out as much as 3 months, but that has changed under the prior administration.
Not
Where
really. I have an appointment in February that was made 4 months ago. So
Really?
yeah, it's to test my memory.
you can actually go to a advocate, and that will be brought in to the 30-day limit. Because now it's a 30-day limit.
No, the 30-day limit has to do with what they call life-threatening activities. Tests and things of that sort are in a different category.
Well,
'Cause I did look into it.
in all honesty, because I live on the Cape, I found that whenever I was scheduled beyond the 30 days and I really wanted to see a doctor, it was altered and it was put into the 30-day window. So
No,
right now,
that-
that's the policy that
see.
used to exist in the prior administration.
Well, let's get back to
Let's go.
your advocacy for Veterans
Yeah,
United, because
so-
we're sort of getting to the end of the program, believe it or not.
That's
So-
quick.
Oh yeah, well, people are always surprised at how fast that goes.
Well-
okay, let's go back to what is your mission and what is your goal?
My mission basically is to gather as many veterans together, find out what their main interests are, and work with them basically with those interests in basically forming socialized activities where they get to meet them. From there, help them merge towards the life that they had actually left in order to serve their country. Secondly, the mission is to support the families while the significant other is away,
Okay.
whether brother or sister.
Okay, so so you're doing something for veterans and also for active duty personnel. That's your intention.
That is correct.
Okay, now where can people meet you to do this? Because you're looking to gather veterans together, right?
Well, that's correct. And I'm basically, I post my email in every, next door is one of the areas.
Next
Another
door?
one, next door is a social, it's like a Twitter.
Okay.
It's on the internet, and my address is there, and they could contact me through that.
Okay, and your address, I think your address will be on the lower thirds when they edit this program. They'll put your name and address on there, so you'll have your email address on that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So if they get a hold of you, they can find out more specifics about what you're
They
trying
could,
to do.
absolutely, they could
Okay.
find out more specifics. They can basically state that they would like to come to a meeting, which they're always welcome to, whether they're brothers or sisters.
So-
because we're all one family.
All right. So you're meeting on a regular basis, and which Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, correct.
Okay. And at what time?
We meet from 6:30 in the evening to 8:30 in the evening.
Okay, 6:30 to 8:30, and it's at the
Bourne Veterans
Memorial
Memorial Community
Community Center.
Center.
Okay.
A lot of words.
Yeah, right. And so, do you welcome non-veterans as well who are trying to help?
Well, we primarily trying to focus on veterans.
I see.
Non-veterans, basically, we haven't really
Okay.
dealt
All right.
with.
If you wanted to give a takeaway to people as we come to the end of this program, what would it be?
The takeaway is that we have our arms open to all veterans, whether active or inactive,
Okay.
male or female, and we would like to basically work with them, see what their needs are, and try and solve those needs.
Okay.
And work and be active. Come
Well,
out of the house.
I think those are all worthy, and I thank you for coming on the program. Folks, we've been listening to Ed Kovary, who is an advocate for Veterans United, and we're encouraging people to go to some of his meetings over at the Community Center here in Bourne to find out more about it. So if you're not doing anything on a Tuesday night, you got to go over and see for yourself. So with that, I want to thank you, Ed, and I want to thank the viewers for watching another production of Bourne TV.